My name's Sean. I'm an artist, musician, curator. Um, I'm known for a lot of people know me as Oreo Jones, and I got here from rapping. I'm a rapping ass dude. Um, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my origins and where I came from, and this is weird because I haven't talked about myself for this long period of time right now. So yeah, I'm from Warsaw, Indiana. Anyone know where Warsaw, Indiana is? Okay, wow, okay, some heads in here. Orthopedic capital of the world. Hulk Hogan has a hip from Warsaw, Indiana. It is also was the headquarters for the White Aryan Resistance. Not very cool. And yeah, Edward Norton off American History X, you know, that movie. His character was based loosely off of one of the guys that spewed propaganda, and it was a really bad time, you know, throughout there rhetorically. But that being said, I had a good childhood. That's me right there. The future's bright right there. Ninja Turtles. I was a reading ass dude right there. I knew right then that I wanted to leave Warsaw, Indiana. But it was cool growing up. I was very spoiled. On the weekends, I would go to a lot of shows. The punk and hardcore scene was pretty popular up there, and that's where I cut my teeth on. Was just punk rock, hardcore. Once I hit puberty, I just fell in love with music. Just enthralled. This is actually a band that I was in, Screaming Hemorrhoids. We're a thrash punk band. You can see me tucked in the back right there. If you can find it on YouTube, congratulations. But yeah, it was, you know, we were throwing our own shows. It was very DIY. Every weekend, there's nothing else to do, so, you know, why not just go to shows all the time? And then I was like, yo, graduate high school and I'm looking for something more. I moved to Indianapolis, and I got to learn my family. Didn't really have a close relationship with my pops growing up, and there was just some kind of energy that pulled me here. I went to college. This is a picture of my grandparents, my granddad Marvin and Granny Patsy, Crispus Attucks, 1945 alum. You know, I began to learn, you know, about my family, you know, when I'm 17, 18, and I just dove head first, you know, just soaking up everything, and that kind of went conjunctionally with college. The last couple of years, I just was focused on Afro studies. I would just pick up tons of black literature, Charles Mills, Langston Hughes, Richard Wright, just injected in my veins. And throughout those years, those early years moving here, I was very lonely, where I didn't really have that many friends, and I just found myself going to the record stores all the time. I'd go to Luna on Mass Ave, and I'd just go to the hip-hop section, and I just fucking became obsessed. I would just pick up CDs. I wouldn't even know who they were, and I'd just bring them back to the crib with what little money I had. And then I was just writing and reading and writing and reading, and I'm like, yo, I can fucking rap. I was making beats on my Xbox, and I just was going crazy with it. I was just, wow. Then I started playing shows. This is like around the first time I started playing shows. This is at Luna, Record Store Day. My shtick was bringing a TV VCR combo and playing Bob Ross, Chris Keller on the drums. And I was just playing, like trying to find my way through here, you know. You know, the culture, you know, just rap in general is very machismo, very, very aggressive, very, you know, every man for himself, and that's how I approached it when I first started out. So I then began, we're hitting it, right? So this is when I first started to make a splash. I graduated college, and I was at a crossroads where I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I dropped my first EP, and then I just started taking it more seriously. This is actually my first show at the Vogue, opening up for Talib Kweli, and I really just started to take it even more seriously, and then I started touring around the country, doing it DIY style, and just really being enamored with the culture. But I think my renaissance happened probably in the 2010s when I moved to Fountain Square. And that was an important part in my life because this was the first time that I saw people that were like-minded, that were taking it really seriously and taking it to the next level. This is a picture from Morris Street, Cataracts Music Festival. I don't know if anyone remembers this. This was a house I lived in for a moment in time. Cataracts Music Festival was a house show festival, and it took over Morris Street. And there was like 5 or 6, bands that were living in multiple houses just on one block. And it was a beautiful time in my life because you're there at like 2 p.m. on a Thursday and you could hear bands practicing at any given time and multiple genres, and it was just a really cool, eye-opening experience for me. Yeah, and this is a very not safe situation right here. Yeah. You see me in here. Can anyone see me? Someone sees me? You see me? Where am I at? Letting it breathe up on the top of the roof right there. That is me. Yep. I was good. Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. Good eye. That was my fault for letting a lot of people up on the roof too, by the way. But yeah, Fountain Square was a very an important time in my life because I was trying to, soak everything in and learn. At this time, there wasn't a lot of spaces for rap shows. We were stuck in, pizza shops and record stores, would be the only spots that would like give us a platform to be able to perform. So just trying to navigate through that was a very special time. In this era, not too long afterwards, I found Listen Here as my second home. And this is the first time I feel like it was important to me to open up my heart and my mind to others, and working with others was a very, very important time. I met Jim Walker. I think Jim's around here somewhere. There he is, yeah. And Shate. And working with Big Car been a crazy experience. They gave me the space and the opportunity, gave me a key to my second home to work at Listen Here. So Listen Here is a project, for those that don't know, of Big Car Collaborative, an arts nonprofit based out of Garfield Park. And at one point this space used to be a pizza shop in its life, an appliance store at one point in its life. And now it's a sound art gallery, and it's a really cool spot. When I first started there, I was a artist in residence, and I just helped curate, and I had a space to be able to facilitate and offer other people ideas, create workshops, listening parties, a really, really, really awesome venue. There's exhibitions. There's an exhibition tonight. Chelsea Flowers is throwing some stuff up tonight. But also there is a radio station in the back. And I started managing the radio station, 99.1 WQRT. Peep it. It's the best in the city, the weirdest in the city. But having these spaces and this platform for people, it's a city's station. It's, if you have the wildest idea, you can come through and we'll make it happen. We have anything from death metal, yin yoga shows to hip hop shows to architect talk shows, movie talk shows with Ann Laker. Man, there's the possibilities are endless. So this then brings me to the next chapter, which is Treese. So Treese is a hip hop festival. One day hip hop festival celebrating hip hop culture in Indianapolis. So we're gonna rewind it back a year before. No, let's go back even more. Wait, and then go back. No, wait. I'm sorry. Go forward. I'm tripping. Go back to the Treese one. So thank you. I haven't done this, I don't think, since high school. So Yeah, so Treese is a very special thing to me. In 2015 is when I started. This is a year before I was at Listen Here. We didn't really, like I mentioned, we didn't have a lot of spaces or venues that would take us seriously in the city. And I thought that I'm in Fountain Square. The hip hop scene is going crazy. It's like 2015. A lot of multi-genre build shows are going. They're popping. We're taking over pizza places, house shows. Just trying to find different venues that would mess with us, and people are starting to take wind of hip hop infiltrating the neighborhood. And I thought, I coincidentally I was at Pizza King, that was on Prospect at the time, and there was a show. It was like a punk and rap show, and I was like, man, I think I could do this. What if we had a festival that had multi venues and people could walk to in one day? And that's where Treese was born. So Treese is portmanteau, I think is what you say it. The official word, a blending of two words. Cheers and peace. And the Brain Twins helped facilitate the Cheers logo that we ripped off. Shout out to the Brain Twins. But yeah, this is the first year. So the first year, every year I'd take a point and shoot camera and I would go around, kind of get my point of view from everything. This was the first one, and that's Baby Ebony up there ripping it. I think I can't tell where that is. I think it might be Thunderbird. So essentially, there's 5 different venues that we took in 2015, the first year, and these are all people, all MCs, artists here in the city, about 60 to 60 some at that time, rappers from all over the city. And I think the Naptown sound is something that you can't just really put your finger on. There's the trap rappers, the avant-garde rappers, art rappers. There's different styles within 465, and I think that's important to note. But this was a very special time, and I didn't know it at this moment. Should we keep going? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go back. We're gonna put some history into context. So, this is 1930 Indiana Ave, which I think is important to put into context of this festival. So, as some of you may know, like in the 1930s, the Avenue was very pivotal. It was a mecca for Black culture. Cafes, venues, black newspapers, churches. This was a landmark for the culture. And sometimes I feel that the 60s come around and decimate, with segregation and urban blight, all that. Kind of just put a shadow over this, and people forget a lot of times how it can be manipulated and just forgotten altogether. West Montgomery, Duke Ellington, all these crazy acts would bless this avenue. And I think just to put it all together, there's always been this history of Black music integrated in the fabric of the city, and people don't really realize that it kind of happens subconsciously, even throughout the generations, and you can feel that even through today, even with little renaissances that pop up and open in the city. So, yeah, we'll go back to 2015. And then this is like a little slideshow I had. So this is, we'll talk a little bit about the festival. So like I mentioned, is at year 1, it's like 5 different venues. And it was probably about 60 to 60 some artists that year. We took over the Pizza King. We took over White Rabbit, Hi-Fi, General Public Collective. This is Draco McCoy, a fabulous artist, rapper. He's a beast. He's in a band called Inner Peace. Diop holding it down at Square Cat with Man Dog. And this is like something that's happening. It's organic, DIY, very grassroots. Like I didn't have anything. I had like probably like $60 in my bank account trying to navigate this, like, you know, trying to go through and plan all this stuff was crazy. This is at old Joyful Noise up in the Murphy building. Yeah, and this is in front of, I keep on referencing Pizza King for some reason. This is in front of Pizza King. It was, who would have thought this was like the jump off right here. Old Fountain Square. Mick Jenkins was the first headliner of the festival, artist out of Chicago. He's actually from Indianapolis, but by the way, Chicago. And that's Pope Bless at White Rabbit. So yeah, it was a electrifying time. This is my man Indiana Jones, Ron Miner. Shout out Ron. DJ Prince holding it down. So the Plaza stage was where all the DJs and producers would flex. Nick Salago, DJ Metronome, and the Decademics crew would hold that stage down. Yeah, and that's pretty much like the heartbeat of the festival. That was like where you kind of start with the pace. It's free. Everyone would come through. You have DJ sets and beat makers, producers would play the original tunes and get it popping. So yeah, we're gonna go through. We got a clicker. Sick. All right. So I'm about to Steve Jobs this thing. All right. So this is at Hoosier Dome, and that's Mula Khan holding it down, getting hype. Shout out Wild Style on the photos too. If anyone knows who Wild Style is, he's another gem in Naptown. Give it up for that man. Yeah, legends, Rusty Redenbacher, Skits, holding it down. I think this is like year 3 at the White Rabbit. And it's generational, you know, I mean, these are some like pioneers and legends in their own right, you know, that have been doing it for decades. And, you know, what Ron would always say, this festival is like cradle to the grave. So it spans generations from the new jacks that are coming up that are just trying to trying to navigate and figure it out, and to also like just seasoned vets, you know, that have been doing it since damn near the inception of the genre. This is Kendall. She's out of Atlanta right now, but Naptown. This is at Square Cat. Yeah, and it's just like it's something you have to go to see it to be a part of it. Mr. Napper Nothing himself, Maxie, holding it down at Hi-Fi. But as the years go on, it just gets crazier and crazier as far as just like the turnout. We sell out every year, and there just be more and more electricity. And I feel like it was also just a jump off for people to be, you know, light a fire under their tush to, you know, put new products out, put new songs out, new projects. And it was ultimately, there's Paris Ledame going crazy, Hi-Fi. Yeah, and then we'd start adding different components to it. This is a 317 dance crew at the theater building. We took over the theater building. This is the last year in 2019. And we did a dance competition, break dancing. So we had different components every year to essentially, you know, add to the experience, to not just be performances. We can have an immersive thing to where everyone can get involved in at some capacity. And the Plaza stage, Wild Style, which is another Pulitzer Prize winning pick. Everyone getting down at the Plaza. And then another Plaza pick. That really is a very special part of the festival. And Flacco is an amazing artist here in Indianapolis. He's actually opening up for us at Old National Center. But this dude is an original, you know, Naptown, like crazy performer. And this was him just tearing down the theater building. The one thing that I think is what I always like to do is I like to have stuff in like unassuming places. This is a theater building, like they have square dancing things going on, like lessons and stuff, and I was just like, just having a rapper just tear it in half is a beautiful thing for me. And then we would start to get, national acts. This is Griselda Records, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine. They actually signed their deal to Rock Nation like right after they got onto the Tree Spill. So that was another component to where like finding emerging artists that are on the cusp to hop on here. And then last year's headliner Talib Kweli, full circle, bringing him back to the theater building. Yeah, so that was these years in progression. What we got next? Oh, is this a video?
Trees, Square Cat Vinyl, love.
My name is Oreo Jones, and I am the founder of Trees Hip Hop Festival here in Indianapolis, Indiana. The festival started in 2015, so this is the third running of it. Fountain Square just had this synergy kind of flow to it that was easy accessible to people, and I wanted to bring hip hop culture to the city, all together one day.
My name is Jay Brookins, and next year I'll be taking the helm with my brother Sirius Black for the festival from OJ. We're gonna be taking over and hopefully doing something nice with it. It's my time, you got it all beat now. People up It's 3. You know what it is, baby. Indianapolis, Indiana. We out here.
Indianapolis has a very distinct style.
I ain't tripping out designer brands. All of these women designer pants. Y'all trying to say how to run my brand. So there's some shit that I can stand.
There's just a whole bunch of different flavors from all over the place. You have the trap rappers, backpackers, like the Golden Age, like True School, avant-garde, like weirdo rap, the art rappers. It's just like kind of all over the place.
It's like a gumbo, man. We take a little bit from Detroit, we take a little bit from Chicago, we take a little bit from West Coast, Atlanta, East Coast. You know what I'm saying? They're all kind of melted, like a melting pot here in the Middle West. But now it's starting to kind of grow into its own thing.
With everything, when you do stuff over time, it's really important to have different heads wrapped around it, whether you're, building a project or, creating an organization. It's always good, I think, to have a new mindset when you approach every year. And I think it's cool. It'll add, different energy and different focus.
Come to Trees. For the love of God, I don't care where you're from, come down there, you're gonna have a good time. I guarantee you, if you don't have a good time, you can find me, I'll give you your money back, I don't care. Like, I feel that strongly about it.
Essentially, that did not happen. I did not get handed over to Jay, but I did bring him in to the trifecta of Trees. So we're going to break down some of the art. These are the flyers over the years. Jay Gardner on these. I try to, I have a vision every year, and I try to keep it close to the chest, something like this definitive to the culture. The first year was a silhouette of Tupac with stick and poke. Stick and poke tattoos were like a thing in Fountain Square, so we tried to, kind of keep it geographically with that one. And then over the years, it progressed. Trees 2 and 3 with Grace Jones. We can go the next Next one. And then, we keep on refining it more and more. The fourth one was sick is we just took different iconic pieces from hip hop culture. Got the Motorola two-way and the herringbone joint. Also, on the fifth one, I wanted to take a piece from John Singleton's film, Menace to Society. And specifically the scene when Lawrence Fishburne is talking about gentrification, because that was like kind of like a thing that was plaguing the neighborhood. Not at that time, it was maybe before, but it was like really aggressive. A lot of artist displacement and just displacement in general. So there's a scene where he's talking about gentrification. There's a dude drinking some milk, and there's a Cash for Home billboard in the back. So I thought that would be kind of a an important thing to display. So that was the fifth year official poster. Yeah. So yeah, the last production of Trees 2019, and we're at an all-time high. We're going crazy. Every year it's just getting wilder and wilder. Taking over the theater building, adding different components within the community. We started Trees Presents. Throwing shows, with Live Nation, with the goal of putting locals in a position to where they can play in spaces on the national platform. So that was what we strive for with Trees Presents. Like I mentioned, in 2018 is when we brought in Jay, and he's helped, been an integral part of this all too, with artist development and finding stuff, how we could do to enhance this festival. And then the iconic Ron Miner, Indiana Jones, came on. And this dude is just a pioneer, a legend, and a mentor of mine who's dropped so much game throughout the years. This dude was like one of the first DJs in the state to play the genre, to break records on the radio. This dude is like, one of the pivotal factors in the genre here in Indiana. Ben Davis grad, dude moved to New York, worked for EMI, was working the Genuine record. This dude's in like the studio with Biggie. This dude's, meets Mark Ronson while they're interning there. And then it's just like history there. This dude is like the only person I knew at the time that could just call people up on the phone and be like, hey, what's up? And it'd make it happen. Yeah, so we're at an all-time high. It's crazy. 2019, wow, we're getting ready for 2020. And then as you know, 2020 hits, and that was a fucking whirlwind. And Ron passed away from a heart attack December 3rd, 2020. So that was a really interesting and very crazy part in this chapter, because I didn't know what to do. And I think Jay, too, ourselves, were just like, yo, this is crazy. And, people would come up to me and be like, yo, what's going on? How can we help? And, you can't say anything definitively. I kind of just folded into myself. And this comes to the grief chapter. So this is kind of even hard talking about right now as I'm just kind of working through all these things. People, like I mentioned, would come up to me and ask me about the festival or just, how's it going? And I would fold into myself. I didn't know. I had no answer for them. And it became really hard. It would be just something in the back of my mind that I did not want to touch or even think about. I even then decided, thought about not even rapping anymore. I thought about quitting and not doing anything. And, I just kind of felt washed, and I didn't know, what the next step would be. It was kind of a bad time in my life. But then I started to kind of take back. I feel like it was the universe telling me to essentially take time for myself. For like 5 or 6 years, I'm giving my entire being to the city and the community, which a lot of creatives and artists in this city do. And I think it was an important time in my life to kind of take a step back and take care of myself. So I began to read, and I began to write, and read and write and read and write. And then that takes me to the next chapter, which is the blessed chapter. So in 2020, I am reading and writing, and then I link with my dog, Nick Askren, aka Sirius Black, David Moose Adamson, and we decided to work on a record together. And I'm slowly, kind of just not even thinking about the future, but just in the moment. As you know, a lot of stuff transpired in 2020. I was living on the east side. A kid got shot right in front of me. I was pretty much mirroring what I was seeing when I was writing these tunes. And then, we decided to go in the studio and recorded a record. And this is when This Time I'll Be of Use is created. At my lowest, we're creating, and then we got a text that Justin Vernon from Bon Iver is interested in putting our record out on his label. And that kind of switched the game. It was kind of crazy. To one point where I was just like, yo, I don't even want to fuck with this anymore. And then we're on tours, like playing shows at Bowery Ballroom. But these dudes saved my life. They really are important to me, and we've been making some of the craziest stuff I've ever made. And I think it's just important to realize that it's not a linear thing. I've been doing this stuff and making music for over a decade now, and there's times where you're just like, what the hell am I doing? And then there's times where it's just like, this stuff just cuts through. It's unconditional, no substance, no dollar sign. Nothing will be able to touch it. And so, yeah, this is us playing, and it really rejuvenated me as an artist. Yeah. Oh, you're queuing up a bit. Okay, Ryan's queuing up a big-ass video. We're going to watch a music video of Bless, if that's okay with everyone. There it is. Shout out Pace Rivers on that. Zach Haskey. Well, we made it. We're here. We weren't buried. I mean, we were buried alive, but we busted through. We made it. All right. Oh yeah. Wow. Spoiler. Yo, so I'm bringing Trees back this year, this summer. I'm gonna bring it back. You heard it here first. So yeah, I think this is just gonna help me just kind of bring it out in the universe. So just tell everyone, August 26th. Partnering with Gang Gang, the beautiful Gang Gang, and Jay's back here. Where's Jay at? Is Jay around here? Where you at, Jay? Is he here? Stand up. Wait, there's Jay. My dog Jay. And serious, Nick's back there. Stand up, Nick. Yeah, he made it out. He busted out the ground too. He's here. So yeah, we're bringing it back August 26th. Yeah, I'm really excited to take it to some new heights and get it back here in the city. And these events I feel like are important to the city, and preserving and creating the legacy, or preserving the legacy. And I think it's important, to listen to your city and really pay attention. Whether you're like making a delicious dish or creating a song or building something, people can see the sincerity in that, and they can see, if you or have the good intentions or not. And I feel like it's important to really foster that and care for that and hold it on. And whether you're at a poetry night or at a tire shop or grocery store, you might find what you're looking for. So yeah, thank you again.